A review of what has been written about the moral limits of genetic enhancement reveals that the question on the lack of a globally unified ethical framework has not yet been asked. So now I ask, how can cultural, legal, and philosophical differences be reconciled in forming a universally acceptable standard for genetic enhancement? To this, I answer that the only possible standard must rest on the shared human values of dignity, justice, and the preservation of human nature. I say this for the following reasons. First, for the principle of human dignity. Every culture, regardless of religion, politics, or law, recognizes the inherent worth of the person, meaning to say that the human being is not a machine to be upgraded, but a unity of body, mind, and spirit. For example, when He Jiankui edited the genes of twin babies in 2018 without their consent, the global outrage was not about the technical errors alone, but about a violation of their dignity as persons. This shows that even across cultures, there was a moral consensus that dignity cannot be ignored. So it is clear that any global framework must begin with a universal commitment that no genetic enhancement can treat human beings as objects of manipulation. Second, the principle of justice. To put it simply, genetic enhancement must never become a privilege of the wealthy at the expense of the poor. It is warned that unequal access to enhancements could create a society divided by genetic advantage. History already gives us a warning. In the early days of the in vitro fertilization were accessible only to wealthy families until policies worked to correct the imbalance. If enhancement follows the same path, it could lock entire generations into a hierarchy of genetic privilege and exclusion. It shows that justice must be embedded in any global standard, ensuring that enhancement technologies do not deepen inequality but to serve the common good. And third, the principle of preserving human nature. Braunschweig and Joel Feinberg's open future principle remind us that altering the germline can predetermine children's lives in ways that close off freedom. For example, editing a child solely for athletic performance or intelligence risks reducing them to design traits instead of free persons with open futures. Such interventions redefine what it means to be human, undermining the shared moral responsibility and identity that bind us together. Cultures may differ on how they value individuality or community, but all recognize the danger of erasing the very foundations of personhood. The implication is that a universally acceptable standard must draw a red line whenever enhancement threatens to erase humanity's common identity. For these reasons, I argue that the moral limits must be imposed on genetic enhancement, even if technologies make such enhancements possible. Only by grounding the discussion in dignity, justice, and the preservation of human nature can we hope to reconcile cultural, legal, and philosophical differences into a framework that serves all of humanity.